See if I can turn this off. Okay. Hello, guys. How's everyone doing? Looks like I need some light, even though I'm in a lit up room. How's everyone doing? It's lunch with me. Yeah. So, hello, everyone. We're lunching and living it. Hope you're enjoying your day today. Give me a second. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair. The Bluetooth device is connected successfully. Nope. How's everyone doing? Sorry. The radio modem. Aux input modem. I know I need a more expensive Bluetooth system. A nice one. How's everyone doing? A couple of things I want to talk about. Actually, three things I want to talk about. Yeah, so actually, three things I want to talk about. Um, Give me just a second. All right. So I'm setting up my Instagram live because I'm trying to go live on Instagram more and more. So how is everyone doing? Health check right here. How's everyone doing with everything that's going on with coronavirus and all of the racism that we're experiencing? How is everyone doing? I want you to know that I love you. I care about you. I literally pray for you every day. I make it a conscious choice to have prayer every day, literally. I do want you to know that I said yesterday that we were going through and we are in a moment of intense grief and that it's okay, that we're hurt, that we're hurting, that we're having to take the time to process all of this that we are experiencing. You know what I mean? Keep your mind healthy, keep your mental strength, keep your faith. I am Kathleen Harriet, your conscious coach, and my job is to help us to always function at a conscious awareness. Um, so I want to talk a little bit today about the Black agenda and what that is, what that should look like, I should say. We know that right now we are out in the streets, we are protesting. Um, there are protesters, we are protesting. I've been privileged to be a part of protesting, actual boots on the ground, Black Lives Matter. I was also a part of another organization in Cincinnati where we came to the defense of Judge Tracy Hunter. Might not be something that you know anything about, but you should Google it because it was major. It is major. Bishop Hilton in Cincinnati is doing an amazing job. Black Lives Matter in Cincinnati was doing an amazing job at that time, and they're still on their job. Like, and that's what I want to say when it comes to the Black agenda. You see me post a hashtag, and the hashtag says Join One. what's critically important for us is that we do join one local and one national organization. What happens is we get lost in the process. So we keep starting out with a lot of anger and a lot of rage, which we should. We start off with protest, which we should, but we're not finishing well because we're not seeing it through. In order to fulfill an agenda, you have to have a strategy. Even with that strategy, you have to have the support of people. The protests are good because you have the support of people. It brings a conscious awareness and it puts the conversation on the table. What happens is the 10,000, the 15,000, the 100,000 people you see in the street, they're not converting into members of an organization. If you have 5, 10, 15, 20, even 100 people in the street and they protest and they bring awareness and they start the conversation, but then that dissolves and these people don't convert into actual members of a actual organization, you don't get the results that you're looking for. And so it's not that we haven't been fighting racism all of this time. It's more that we haven't been following through with our first step. So we're doing the first step excellent. We're getting out there, we're having our voices heard and all of that. But the follow through, you have to join an organization whose focus is to fight racism. That's how you make changes in laws, policies, and procedures, because those are the three things that need to happen. Okay? Laws, policies, and procedures. Those three things have to happen. In order for things like that to happen, you have to have a representative. You have to have an attorney. You have to have an organization that can present those demands. Yes, you can do it as an individual. Yes, you can do it independently, but why not do it with a group of people? And a group of people who are already familiar with what all of that looks like. So I definitely wanted to say that first concerning the Black agenda. I also wanted to comment on Donald Trump's speech today. I don't know, it sounded like he was having one of his rallies. I don't know what he was doing. We never know. He's a liar, just a very pathetic individual in terms of being able to lead us as a nation. So here's the thing about my neighbor has a motorcycle. He rides it every day. I guess he's not working just like me. So he enjoys the ride. So here's the thing. Donald Trump made this speech today. There was nothing about it that I liked. Okay, that's just the bottom line. But what I definitely want you guys to understand, and you need to follow Mike Imhotep on the African History Network. That's who you need to follow. You need to follow Roland Martin because Roland Martin is definitely going to dig in and dive deep into what all Donald Trump said today. On the cusp of it, though, I want you to know that he reversed the Obama bill, and I can't get into all of that because that's not my lane. That basically what he did today was touted his support of the police. And let me tell you why that's a danger on a conscious level, because I'm a conscious coach. The danger in that is he is continuing to spread the message that Black lives don't matter. When you are the president of the United States and you're not able to completely focus on Black Lives Matter and setting an agenda or changing laws and policies that would benefit Black people, African American people, because that is a need, that's necessary right now. When you're not able to speak to that exclusively, not like we're the only people in the United States, but we are the only ones being murdered by police, and I mean murdered. So that's definitely an area that needs to have his undivided attention on at this moment. So for him to stand there and to back the police, support the police, celebrate the police, that really sends a conscious message to individuals who some may be struggling to understand racism, while others they're racist. You can forget about it. What he did was he triggered in their conscious mind that nothing wrong has actually happened. Okay? So he sent a message today to the American public that nothing wrong has actually happened when it comes to the police. He sent a message that said, hey guys, no big deal, same old, same old. These guys are good guys, couple of bad apples in the bunch, but they're really good people. That in itself is a lethal weapon against black people. Because it supports the notion that racism is not even real. It supports the notion that we don't need to do anything about it. And it supports the notion that he's not going to be in support of any bills, policies, or laws or anything set forth. Now, just because he doesn't support it, just because he doesn't back it, just because he doesn't know how to be a leader, that doesn't stop us from doing our job. Because he's not the only one. He's one in a room of many. So another thing I didn't like was when he spoke about police being police programs being stopped completely, which is what he did on a conscious mind level. His message said, when he said, we need the police, if we lose the police, they're there to protect us, and 8, 9, 10, and 11, all the mess he said, that sends a message to people to say, do not let them defund the police. So instead of explaining what defunding is in terms of sending other people to deal with non-violent situations, so you don't need a gun to show up for a person who has a mental illness, for a person selling CDs, for a person selling cigarettes, for a person asleep in their car. You don't need anyone to show up with a gun. You need a social worker. You need a trained officer who is skilled in de-escalation, which all of them should be. Don't even get me started on that. All of them, anybody can de-escalate a situation. I'm not even a police officer. As a human being, I know how to talk to an individual and try to give them the best outcome in the situation. I don't like to use that word training and all that stuff because then we don't hold them accountable when they actually should be. So I'll leave that at that. So he made this announcement, totally supporting the police, totally saying we don't want to lose the police. We need the police. Don't you dare vote against the police. When we all know that the police, nobody's asking to dissolve police departments. We're simply saying we don't need people with guns who have a tendency to kill black people in 30 seconds or less in a lot of those cases. We don't need them showing up to handle our community, neighbor, whatever the situation is. We don't need them. We don't need them. So that's what that's about. Based on what Trump did, this is what I feel like we should do. We should do just like I'm doing right now. We should educate our own. It's imperative at this moment that you tap into an educator, right? Someone who can tell you what's going on, who is credible, who has the background, who has the history, who has the care and concern, and when I say the care and concern, I mean a person like myself who reads articles, who follows others, who knows what's happening, not just some, Betty Joe off the street. Hey, let me tell y'all what's going on, blah, blah. Guys, you have to follow reliable sources. Mike Hotep is one. Tamika Mallory is out here fighting. You got the Black Lives organizations out here, Black Lives Matter. Roland Martin These are people that you can just jump on Instagram. You can jump on Facebook. Sean King. You can jump on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch or Twitcher, Twitch, I think. You can jump on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Look, these people are giving us. They're giving us information. They're just throwing it out there so we'll understand because we don't understand everything. Everything, I'm a conscious mind coach. Okay? Everything is not my lane. So I'm not over here trying to be Roland Martin. Roland Martin is way up there. He's a journalist, he's skilled, he's professional. This man knows when it comes to politics, policies, laws. Look, he's throwing down the gauntlet. You understand this? He has it. Michael Hotep, M.O. Hotep, that I follow on the African History Network. This guy reads articles, laws, all kind of stuff, like the back of his hand. So follow those people. What we need to do is tap into this education. All right? That's the part we're missing. We need to tap into all of this education. Is free. All this free education. And the more you tap into it, the more you and I, the more you and your brother, your sister, your church members, your circle, the more we can have in-depth conversations about what we need to do, the more we can show up ready. Because we're showing up, but we're not ready. We're showing up, but we don't have any information. We're showing up, but we're still showing up surprised because we don't know a lot. So in order for us to stop showing up like that, we have to do the work. We have to pay attention. We have to tap into educators. And that's what we have to do. So join one local, one national. A local would look, the area I live in, there's so many local organizations that fight for black rights and all of that. And then you have the national, like the NAACP. Guys, join the NAACP. All of us should be a member of the NAACP. And don't forget, to criticize an organization means you're not a part of it. Because if you were a part of that organization, you would be able to bring necessary changes to the surface. And if you were a part of that organization and you left, you should have joined another organization. Okay? We can't just have like these little bitty qualms or this tit for tat and all this. It seems like everything will push people away from being a part of what really needs to happen. And I'm just going to say that because nobody is perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. If we started an organization, we wouldn't be perfect. Some stuff needs to be ironed out. Some stuff you just have to call people on their crap and just be like, hey, look, I love being a part of this group, but this part right here, I ain't comfortable with that. Let's do something different. Okay? Just want to remind you guys, and thank you for tuning in on my live, by the way. I do just want to remind you guys that I am an author, and as a conscious mind coach, one of the things that I gravitate to is to help us become better, to be consciously aware of our behaviors, the consequences, the results of our behavior, so we can change it. It's about change. It's not about pointing a finger or blaming anyone or trying to be condescending or anything like that. It's simply about change and change for the better. I was reading a recent report at NIH.gov, which is the National Institute of Health. The report stated that 50% of all STI, STD, which is sexually transmitted disease and sexually transmitted infections, were coming from those between the ages of 15 and 24, teens representing 25% of all of those cases. We have a serious problem on our hands. And I'm not just talking about STDs and STIs. That's a part of what comes with our people having sex. Having sex young. Having sex and you're just a teenager. Was from the ages of 15 through 24. Some of them had had more than one partner. Some of them had had up to four partners already. Yeah, that young already had four partners. What needs to happen is, again, remember I was telling you about that education piece? We need to tap into our educators. And so one of the things I've done is I've written a book called So You Think You Want to Have Sex. Guys, I want you to get that book. This book is a guide to help us have the conversation with our children about sex, which is critically important. Not so they just won't catch STDs, which, okay, that's one thing we want to do, but also so they can understand who they are and the purpose of their existence. So they can stop using, so that trauma, excuse me, will not be manifested throughout their life. Because if you're already experiencing trauma, hurt, pain, confusion, all kinds of stuff, you don't need to add sex to that. You really need to work out your life before you invite sex into your world. And I know a lot of us, especially down south, we see sex as a, hey, it's coming. You know, oh, she hot in the pants, whatever. They 13, 14. Oh, he need a condom. He's 15, he's 16, he like girls, whatever. We've never really, as a people, as a race, as a culture, as individuals, we've never really tapped into training and positioning our children to win. So they're not out here exchanging their bodies for childhood trauma. We've never done that. I kind of get into that. Well, I go all the way in this book and talk about how since slavery, since racism and all of that, we really haven't defined how we want to live our lives. So we just keep recycling all of these struggle stories, which start from us engaging in sexual activity way too soon, way too often, with not so good results. And so we want to take a look at that. I want you to build stronger family bonds. There are a lot of activities in this book that the family has to do together, which is really, really rewarding. And it just helps us to build that foundation that we need to see in Black families. Nothing is going to motivate your child more than knowing that you care on that level. Like that's another level of care. It's much. I mean, all kids know their parents love them and care about them. I can't say all because I've worked with a lot of social service workers, so I know not all. But I'm just saying, in general, all children know that their parents love them. But there's another step we need to take to really build strong bonds and create a legacy within our family. So you think you want to have sex? It's going to be posted. It's going to be posted for pre-sale by this weekend, in the next couple of days, actually. So look for that. Thank you for joining me on this live. This is Kathleen Harris, your conscious coach. Have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them below. Also, you can send me a DM, an email, Facebook message, whatever you choose to do. Thank you so much, and you guys have an awesome day.